Okay, so it's been 2 days since I wrapped this up. So we are going to go ahead and take a minute and unwrap our clay that has been wrapped in newspaper. I want to be careful in taking this out as to not smash any of my cut pieces. I'll set my bag aside. And I'm going to gently unroll. You will notice that the newspaper is nice and wet. It has been pulling the excess moisture out of our clay over the last 2 days, but that moisture hasn't left the clay entirely because it was in the bag. So the clay is not dried out. It is nice and firm. So I can take this piece and wave it around and it's not going to bend on me. So this is exactly what we were looking for by wrapping our clay in newspaper. So I'm just going to gently take all my pieces out here and lay them in front of me, and then we will get started on assembling our box. What I would like you to do with the newspaper is save it so it dries out and we can always reuse it. If it stays wet for really long periods of time, it will start to grow mold. So if you see little spots or specks of mold, we want to throw that newspaper out. But this wasn't in there long enough to have any mold growth. So I'm going to hang this on the drying rack or over the bottom of the table here, and when it's dry, I will put it away. All right, so I have my box pieces. Again, we have 3 4x6 pieces. And these are going to be 2 sides and a lid. So I'm going to position them like that on my canvas. I have a 3x6, which is the bottom piece. And I have 2 3x3.5 pieces, which are going to be the short side pieces. And so what I want to do first is I want to lay out my box in the orientation that these pieces are going to go together. So this is the orientation that I want to use. I want to have a 4x6 on the bottom, a 3x6 in the middle, 4x6 on top in a line, and then next to the 3x6, I'm going to lay each of these 3.5x3s. So we don't need to do anything else to the clay before we just slip and score and start joining these pieces together. We got it to leather hard by putting it in our newspaper for 2 days. And so now I'm just going to start assembling this. Please make sure that you are slipping and scoring well. Create rough and deep score marks and add slip to at least one side of your score marks that you are joining together. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand up my pieces. Now these 4x6 pieces are going to, the bottom edge is going to sit on the table and the side is going to touch the 3x6 piece. Okay, so it's not going to sit on top of the 3x6, it's going to be sitting on the table, but the side is touching the 3x6 bottom piece. So that's going to go there. This piece is going to go on the other side, sitting on the table. The small side pieces, if you set them down on the table, you'll notice that it doesn't look like it's going to fit. And so these 3x3.5 pieces, they're actually going to sit on top of the bottom 3x6 piece in between the 4x6 walls. So I'm going to try to turn this so you can see what that looks like. So I have my very bottom 3x6 piece. I have my 2 4x6 sides. They are both sitting on the table and butting up the sides against the bottom piece. And then this piece is sitting on top of the 3x6 and it's just sandwiched between the the two 4x6 sides. And this is going to show you where you're going to need to slip and score. My recommendation is just going to be take one side at a time, but make sure that you're following how these are supposed to line up as you work. So I'm going to lay these back down. And I am going to start with one of the 4x6 sides. So the two pieces that are going to come in contact with each other are going to be this bottom piece and the long side piece, and they're going to come in contact with each other like this. The bottom piece is butt up against the side piece. So the side piece is not sitting, it's not sitting on top of the bottom piece, it's just up against the side here. Okay, so what I'm gonna need to do is I'm gonna need to score the bottom side of the 4x6 piece. So I'm going to take a minute to scratch up and score that bottom edge of the inside of one of my 4x6s. I'm going to take the 3x6, which is the bottom piece, and I'm going to score the edge here. All right, so just like that. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to grab some of my slip. I'm just gonna use a fettling knife to grab it out of the container. And we don't wanna smooth our slip on. We want to pat it in to the grooves here. I'm gonna use my knife just a little bit to disperse it, and then I'm just gonna use my finger to spread it out. I may need more, so I'm gonna go back, grab just a little bit more here. Okay, so I have slip added to my score marks. I did not smooth over them, I just dabbed the slip into place. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my bottom piece, my score marks are on the side edge. I'm gonna take my 4x6 and I'm going to line them up just like this, lining them up. And I'm going to press firmly and wiggle. And you want to see these two pieces kind of come together, and the slip should ooze out of that corner joint. And that's how you know that it's pushing in and it's coming together. So I've got a lot of extra slip right here. I'm just gonna grab my rib tool and just pull it out. I can put it back in my jar because we can reuse that. And I'm going to very carefully join the opposite side right here, doing the same thing. So I'm gonna take my other 4x6 side and I'm going to line it up with the opposite side, just like that. It's sitting on the table, butted up against the side of the 3x6, the bottom piece, and I'm going to score along the bottom inside edge of my 4x6. And also the edge of my 3x6, the bottom. Make your score marks nice and rough and deep, so that way the clay has something to really grab onto. Grabbing some more slip here, just placing it down with the fettling knife, and I'm gonna just dab it in with my finger. I'm not smoothing over, I'm dabbing. We don't want to smooth out all of the score marks that we just made. We need that rough texture. Okay, taking this piece, lining it up here, and I'm going to very gently put my hand on the inside, press and wiggle. And I'm just holding my hand here so I don't knock this piece over. But what I'm doing is I'm pushing along this edge, so that way they seal together. And again, I'm gonna see the slip oozing out a little bit here. Okay, so now the hand on the inside is just very gently pushing along the bottom edge with my fingers. Okay, I think that joined together pretty nicely. And I'm just gonna take my fettling knife, just any tool that will come in and pull up that extra slip is good. So you can use a paintbrush, you can use a modeling tool, whatever tool works to get into the small area that you need to get into to grab that extra slip. Okay, so I have my two sides of my box attached now. Okay, and so these are still going to be a little fragile in their leather hard stage and very easy to pull apart. So we just want to be very careful about how we move forward with the box in this state right now. So I'm going to take my other side piece here, and this piece needs to fit in between here. So I have to just kind of open them just a little bit because they're kind of coming in, leaning in on each other just because of all that pressure that I was applying to get the slip, the score marks and the slip to kind of come together. And I'm just gonna kind of fit that in there. It's not slipped and scored yet. I just wanted to fit the clay in. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to score along all of the edges that are going to make contact with each other. So that means I'm gonna score along 3 sides of this smaller piece here. And I'm also very gently going to score the edge of the inside bottom, the edge of the inside wall on one side, holding the wall to support it as I do make these score marks, and then the opposite edge right here. Don't worry about making unintentional marks along the edge that's going to be exposed. We are going to come back and we're going to smooth everything out. Okay, grabbing some slip. I want to put some, again, on all the areas that are going to be together. And again, dabbing, not smearing or smoothing it in. Okay. Now I'm ready to fit this into place. I'm going to pull the side walls just apart just a little bit to get this into place here. It looks good to me. And now I'm going to press down and wiggle. I'm going to press to the sides and wiggle as well. And again, the slip is oozing out just a little bit. In my opinion, that's a good sign. That means you're getting a nice, tight seal where you've made your score marks. It's forcing the slip out. All right, so again, we have lots of slip on the outside. You can just use a rib tool to just clean that up for the moment. I can put it right back in my slip jar. All right. Now on to the other side. I'm going to flip this around very gently. Okay, we're going to repeat the same process we did on the other side here. All right, press and wiggle time. Pushing down first, pressing and wiggling. Now the sides. Other side. Okay, pieces are together. I'm going to use my rib tool to just scrape any excess slip that oozed out. All right, so I have a box. I now have a box, okay? And what we need to do next is reinforce all of the seams on the inside of the box. All of the lines that connect the pieces that we just put together, we need to create a few coils, and we're gonna slip and score those into place, and that's going to get smoothed out, and it's gonna really help all the walls hold together. So we're gonna do that next.